as I get these sort of hits and pop-ins of information that I feel like are beneficial to share. Um, this one is interesting, and so I'm just going to put the disclaimer of a trigger alert on there for people that do not like Donald Trump. And if you don't, then I encourage you to watch my last video. Um, one might, if you were in sort of this state where you feel very triggered or judgmental towards just the concept of Donald Trump, then then this one might trigger you. I don't want you to feel like this is in any way associated with any other organization or movement like Q or QAnon or any of that kind of stuff. This is a true download of information that I receive from the divine. And so I'm just kind of guided to talk about it. And sometimes I'm talking about stuff and I don't know everything about what I'm talking about, but it is important that the information comes through somebody, that it gets shared, and it seems to have come through me. So yay me. So this is the idea or the concept that we at different times in our life bring forth archetypes. And so the archetypes could be victim, could be warrior, it could be many things, but sometimes we bring forth an archetype that is associated with a being like Jesus, or if you are embodying unconditional love, maybe you're living the archetype of Jesus. So it's not the actual being per se, but it's the likeness of that. So what my vision was is it showed me that Trump is embodying the archetype, the energy of the Hindu goddess Kali, Kali. Now, Kali is the destroyer. That is one of the parts of her archetypes. I've got little notes over here, so if you see me looking off, that's why the destroyer aspect of her is the positive aspect. And this is how it came forth originally for me, as I began seeing this as it's a divine embodiment. This is not a bad thing. There are people that come on this earth and they have a destroying energy. This is like the farmer that needs to take out the weeds so that it can plant and he can plant a new harvest. There is a destroyer energy to that, right? But there is also the cusp of rebirth that's there too. So with the destroyer, the positive aspect is that they highlight aspects of personality and life that no longer serve the individual. And this is exactly what I saw in 2016 when the primaries were over and Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump were the two last people standing for the election. And I didn't like either one of them at all. At all. I didn't hate either one of them. I would say I came pretty close to hating Hillary Clinton. I'm not going to lie about that. But I did not hate anybody. And I went deep, deep into meditation. And I called forth both of their souls in my meditation. Hillary Clinton's soul, Donald Trump's soul. And I just opened and asked the questions. And I came from a very neutral space. Because if you come from a non-neutral space, you're just going to get what you either want to hear or what you don't want to hear that validates your feelings. And a lot of mediums and psychics and maybe prophets and stuff, they do that. That is out of integrity. If you are an energetic, a healer, or a psychic medium, or whatever the label, whatever. I don't even go by any of the labels. In that vision, as what I received was that it didn't matter. It didn't matter who was president of the United States. We would have a different journey with a different president. If Hillary Clinton were to come in and be our president, then our world, our United States, our people would experience a giant growth and awakening in regards to corruption and anything around money and banking. That's how it came through. If Donald Trump were to get into office, we would have a different journey. We would have a different awakening. And what came forth at the time was that it had to do with racism. So as I've seen all this stuff play out, especially through 2020, it's like, haha, whoa, look at that. That's exactly what's happening. And it's very interesting. And I talked in the last video about the lenses that we wear. There are people that see Donald Trump and they can't even see anything else other than him through the lens of a racist. And then there are other people that can't see any proof at all that he is. And that's going to be another video, because I have another video, another download about that. But the point that I want to make is that Trump, in his big personality that he has, love it. And some people love it. There's times I'm like, yeah, he went for it, and I love it. And other times I'm like, oh my God. Right? Maybe you can relate to that. In his unique personality that he has this power, and many of us do, and I do it to people too, non-intentionally because I'm usually hated for it, but of being a mirror for either one person or a group of people, or maybe a country full of people. So things that he says get viewed through the lens of racism. He's racist, he's misogynist, he's xenophobic, all the things that everybody says. It's like parrots that are repeating the same nasty words about him without any actual proof or backup that he's actually like that. The only proof that you're going to get is if you actually come into a neutral space, open your heart and feel him, and look at his soul and feel his soul. Then you'll know who he is. And so what I saw was this destroyer energy is this personality that highlights aspects of other people's personalities. Where does racism exist in you? And a lot of people have had to check that after the George Floyd thing. They've had to really dig in and be like, wait, how actually do I feel and how do I respond? What's ingrained in me? What do I want to keep and what do I want to release? And the destroyer destroys illusions and helps people live to their full potential. So it's possible that he does need these 4 more years to continue his work if he needs to be in that office to do it. And so that he can continue to destroy the illusion that people have placed on him and that he has reflected to them to wake up inside others, that space. Do I have that inside of me? How have I responded in hate or anger or bigotry towards somebody? Where can I take responsibility? And what I'm seeing is more of a lot of people putting blame and name calling than actually taking the lesson, which is the reflection, the mirror to look in. So that's one aspect. The other thing where maybe President Trump gets trampled up in with the Kali energy is that the shadow form of the destroyer uses their power to trample over others' feelings and destroys dreams to feed their own ego. Now, this is not necessarily an intentional thing, but when you have somebody that has such a big, bold personality, he may not tiptoe around to tell you something that might hurt your feelings. He may just slam it down. And with that Kali energy comes the potential of having that shadow part, the ego and the stepping on people. which is most likely what gets him in the most trouble. So if I were to be his spiritual advisor, which would be super cool if I could be, but if I were to be, we would work on where that shadow rises up. In what situations does that get triggered? And we would work on that, the root cause of it. The other aspect of Kali is the warrior. It represents physical strength, the ability to protect and fight for your rights and the rights of others. And this is something he's really embodying. You can hear it in his speeches, not the sound bites. That's a manipulation. The little blips, the little sound bites that you hear are manipulations. I encourage you to listen to full speeches so that you can see things in the context that it said. You can feel, you can turn on your bullshit detector, also your intuition, and you could really feel what he's saying and seeing if you could get the full message. Half the country is working off of sound bites and manipulations right now. They're not seeing and feeling the whole thing. And so he speaks these words all the time. The warrior is protecting and fighting for the rights of people, draining the swamp, uncovering, exposing, which brings me to the next aspect. Now there's an aspect of Kali where she is portrayed with the bone skull mala. This is a necklace of bones, of skulls that she wears. And this is actually the first vision. Actually, I got Kali, and then I saw the bones, the skulls, and I thought, oh, that's all of the people that he's exposing. So Kali is portrayed with the garland of 50 heads, and that 50 heads represents the 50 letters in Sanskrit alphabet, communicates her infinite knowledge. Also, though, wearing the human heads is an intense symbol of liberation. And that is what his purpose is. His ego wants to be president, wants 4 more years, wants to be loved, loved, loved by everybody, wants to be respected and loved. That's what his ego needs. But his purpose is to destroy, to defend and be the warrior, and to expose and bring those bones and those skulls up to show everybody what he's been able to do. And that's why I believe that the divine feminine of Kali lives and breathes as a giant expression through Donald Trump. So that is what came through. And you can tell my voice is even different talking about it because there is this energy, this Kali energy. It is not soft and gentle. It's not like, okay, sweetheart. It's like, in fact, she's even portrayed with her tongue sticking out and her eyeballs bulging. It's Kali energy. And so if that is something that in this world that you want to see, if you want to see corruption exposed, if you want to see people that have manipulated and lied their way into positions of power and are using that power on the American people, if you want them to be exposed, then just sit back and allow the energy to do what it does. Because it's coming forth not because he called it. It's because he's the divine vessel to bring it forth. Does that mean that Biden doesn't have some divine calling? No, I just haven't gotten the download on him for that. But I'm totally open to seeing what's available there. But I just wanted to bring this. It was really interesting, and it's bugging me every day. And when something bugs me every day, it's like, you've got to say it, you've got to say it, you've got to say it. So again, think about the farmer. Think about Hawaii. All of Hawaii, right? Well, the goddess Pele is also like a destroyer goddess. She just is with lava. What grew forth from that? a beautiful, beautiful tropical paradise that I cannot wait to get back to and put my feet in the sand without having to wear a mask or any kind of bullshit like that. It's the same concept. He's preparing, he's destroying so that new growth can come. And we often think of the divine feminine as something that comes forth through women, but it is not. It's something that comes forth through, doesn't matter your gender. So I'm just leaving you with that as something to consider. You might file me away in the wackadoo. I don't care. It's okay. Wouldn't be the first time. Won't be the last. But just consider that concept. Let me see if there's anything else. Not my will, just thy will be done. That's it. You don't have to do anything. You just have to allow and witness. Witness. All right, let's see what happens. All right, have a beautiful day. Hey, the love and the light and divine in me sees and honors the love and the light and the divine in you. Namaste. All right.